Hello and welcome back to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel where, of course, we're giving you all the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. We're back again today for another match preview for West Bromwich Albion's clash with Hull City in the Championship on Saturday, which is a 3 o'clock kickoff. Yeah. I always say I'm looking forward to the game. I'm not looking forward to the game, but you might be. But yeah, we'll be chatting through all the latest sort of scouting report of Hull City. What can we expect from them? Their predicted lineup. Bit of piece from me about what we're thinking about West Bromwich Albion at the moment, how we're feeling about what's going on with them. A bit of a predicted lineup as well, and then of course a scoreline from me. Towards the end of the video. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what you think. I'm sure you're all in a very similar boat that, these games, come around a bit too quickly nowadays. Now things aren't going so well. But yeah, please leave your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know how you're feeling about this one and drop your score predictions, maybe a predicted lineup, whatever you want to write down there. And we'll take a look at them after the video has finished. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and let's crack on with this match preview. You're watching the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. For match previews, match day vlogs, match reactions and more, make sure to subscribe to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. So let's get started with the opposition, Hull City. Yeah, they're certainly not the best team in the Championship at the moment. They're 19th in the league, but they're only 9 points behind Albion. So I think, yeah, that tells you a little bit of a different tale and tells you sort of how close we are to ending up in what I'd consider to be a pretty tight relegation battle down there towards the bottom of the table. So, yeah, as I said, 19th in the EFL Championship. They're currently managed by Shutter Arveladze, I think is his name. He's a Georgian manager, previously managed a series of Turkish clubs. I think he's also managed in Russia as well. He's got, as a player, he's actually got a very decent goal-scoring record at a few pretty notable clubs just outside of Europe's top 5 leagues. He's scored some decent amount of goals in Rangers. I think he was 1 in 2 at AZ Alkmaar and Ajax during his playing career. So, yeah, I can't claim to know very much about his managerial style or anything along those lines. Of course, we can read into that from the stats that I'll tell you in a little bit. But he's certainly looking like a very decent manager, a decent player back in his playing days. But yeah, of course, recently appointed in place of Grant McCann, who's now gone to Peterborough to try and keep them in the division. But yeah, relatively recently they were taken over by Akun Ilichai, who, of course, ended, the Alam's reign. Of course, we heard a lot about that during their time, I suppose, in the Premier League and, of course, in the Championship as well. That brought that reign to the end, and they're hoping for better times, I think, now, Hull City. I think they've had a bit of a difficult patch over the past few years, and, of course, in League One recently, now look to be settling their status in the Championship. They're hoping that the new owners can bring a new wave of positivity, along with their new manager, of course, Shutter Arveladze. But yeah, of course, we remember last time we played them. It was a very defensively solid Hull City, I thought. Who executed a game plan to a T really against ourselves when we were playing, under Ismail, and the teams starting to camp back against us a little bit and starting to feel themselves, trying to get themselves in and behind the ball and trying to make sure that they can keep out our opposition and stuff. It was that sort of stuff. So, last time out, they were very defensively solid under Grant McCann, and obviously we sort of grasped the Karlan Grant winner, I suppose, in that game. And I think that was actually Taylor Gardner-Hickman's debut, if I remember rightly. And I thought he was absolutely outstanding in that game, and didn't believe that he should be in the position where he is now, where he's having to tussle with below par players for a starting spot in the 11. I thought that was his moment to really shine, and of course he got his debut, and the full 90 minutes against Hull was very good in it. But Karlan Grant got the winner in that one. That was during his sort of flurry of goals, where he managed to get, I think, 6 in 6 or something like that. We haven't quite seen a run of form from him like that for a significant amount of time. But their top scorer is currently Keane Lewis Potter, who bagged 2 in their 3-0 win against Peterborough last week. He's now on 8 for the season. He's a very exciting young talent Played very well in League One last year. He got some very, very good numbers, and now starting to do it in the Championship really under Shota Arveladze, and doing really well as well. Doing really well, and bright young prospect who we can all look forward to seeing on Saturday, and hopefully we can stop him from picking out those goals that he's been doing a couple of times of late. And then their top assist is Ryan Longman, who's got 4 assists as well. On to a little bit about their playing style and kind of what we can expect for the sort of standard of it. Of course, their shots on target per 90 is 23rd in the division. That's 2.9 shots on target per game. That's really, really low numbers for the Championship this season. And of course, very, very close to the bottom of that particular pile. And then goals per match, 22nd. In the league with 0.9 per game. That sounds a very similar story to what we've got going on at the moment with our goals per game. But I think successful tackles per 90 is 4th place, 9.5 successful tackles per 90. Of course they're doing very well in that front, but not so well in the goal scoring and chance creation department, which I think we can all definitely relate to. Of course, our defensive solidity has dwindled a little bit of late, so they're certainly doing very well, I think, in terms of defensively and keeping the ball out the back of the net, because I think their expected goals conceded is very high in terms of the rest of the division, but the actual goals conceded, that margin is quite big. So doing very well at keeping the ball out the net, but not so well at keeping it in the net, in the opposition's net, that is. And of course, onto a predicted 11 for Hull City. In goal, I've gone for Matt Ingram. Along the back three, I've gone for Jones, McLaughlin, Jacob Greaves. Jacob Greaves, I think, is a very good Championship centre-back, and he's definitely a player that's been doing very well of late. You've got Brandon Fleming at left wing-back, Regan Slater at right wing-back. You've got Greg Doherty, who's playing in that centre midfield role, alongside Richie Smallwood. A bit of a random fact for you, he actually played for Blackburn Rovers in goal. Obviously midfielder, played in goal against us a couple of seasons ago when we were last in the Championship, when their goalkeeper went off injured. I think it was David Raya at the time, of course, doing very well at Brentford now in the Premier League. But Richie Smallwood actually went in goal for that particular, for about half an hour of that game. We didn't score past him. So, just an interesting little fact for you there. Then, of course, in sort of right forward, left forward motion, going for George Honeyman. Of course, I remember him coming through at Sunderland, and doing a very good job there. He's now established himself in this starting 11 for Hull City. Keane Lewis-Potter left forward, and Tyler Smith up front. Of course, was at Sheffield United for what seemed like an age without actually really getting a proper game for them, but now in that striking role for Hull City, bagging a goal last time out as well. So that's all you've got to know about Hull City. Of course, very defensively resolute, but looking forward to seeing what they can provide in the goal scoring front. And somebody I'm not looking forward to seeing, the team that I'm not looking forward to seeing is West Bromwich Albion this weekend, 17th in the EFL Championship, 8 points off the playoffs. For me, I think the players have got to take a huge amount of responsibility for letting down, I think, Ishmael towards the end of his reign, and also letting down Steve Bruce for the start of his reign. But Steve Bruce is sort of starting to unravel with him, and I'm starting to lose a little bit of patience, a little bit of an understanding with him at the moment. Of course, I'm not denying that the players don't deserve to take their discredit at all. But tactically, I think he's caused himself some issues. I think selection-wise, picking the same players, but complaining about the same players and complaining about how they're not working for him. I think it's almost suicide, really. If you're complaining about the players that you continue to pick, you're going to run out of excuses almost, and the fans are going to lose patience. And I'm starting to lose my sympathy with him for continuing to pick players who aren't up to it. Taylor Gardner-Hickman, he said he's a right back. That's how he's seen him, a full back. But he won't play him out of position. But he continues to play people like Reach, continues to play O'Shea out of position, and it doesn't work. But there's a young lad who we all understand is clearly good enough to play at this level. For some reason, the club just do not share the hype, and the past two managers, I think, have not really shared the hype about him. I think the season is over for us in terms of promotion and playoffs. I think we just have to focus on getting ourselves ready for the next season. I think that's with or without Bruce, whether the club decide to continue with him. The attack since he took over, I thought I'd just pull up some stats for you about the attacking outlet since Bruce took over. We've had 62 shots, 15 of those on target, which is a 24% accuracy. The league's worst is 29%. So you can sort of see how we're starting to mix with what is a very, very poor Championship division and starting to look out of place in what is one of the poorest Championship divisions I've certainly watched as an Albion fan. And then one goal from those 62 shots means our conversion rate is 1.6%. Our season average is 16%, which is the worst in the league. So we're actually worse than our own worst was before Bruce arrived. So, yeah, things really aren't looking good in an attacking front with Bruce. And it's just, I don't want to pin the blame on him too much. I don't even think he's perhaps 10% of the blame that's currently going on at the clubs. I think the players do have to take more responsibility, try a lot harder, put a lot more heart in. But I do think he's almost shooting himself in the foot a little bit with his team selections. But here's what I think he's going to go for. I think he'll go for Sam Johnston in goal. This is maybe what I would probably go for, to be honest. Dara O'Shea at right back, I think, is probably the best way to do that. Carl Bartley, Semi Ajayi and Connor Townsend along the back four. Jake Livermore is back from suspension. I do think he walks straight back into the midfield. That's how poor things have been. Then in the midfield alongside him, I'll go for Jason Malumbi and Taylor Gardner-Hickman. Left midfield, I'd go for Grady Diangana. I want to see him on that left wing and see him sort of switch things up. He showed a bit of confidence and he showed a bit of drive for me last time, so I'm hoping to see that. Cristiano Ronaldo 7, Callum Robinson number 7 at right midfield, and Andy Carroll up front. In terms of a score prediction, I'll go for 0-0. I can't see us scoring, but Hull are just as poor in front of goal as we've been. So, but yeah, I would, if I had to tip a team to win, I'd probably tip Hull, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see about that. Drop your comments, drop your score predictions down below, drop your predicted lineups and your thoughts ahead of the game. And I'll see you in the next match preview. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.